Now we begin in South Africa, where the Speaker of the National Assembly, Baleka Mbete, has confirmed that another vote of no confidence against President Jacob Zuma will be heard in Parliament. In a letter responding to a request by the opposition party, the EFF, Mbete informed its leader that she had decided to schedule their motion of no confidence in the President for the 22nd of February. Now, Mbete also confirmed that she had no power to accede to the DA's request to postpone the State of the Nation address, which is scheduled, of course, for February. In August 2017, President Zuma survived the first secret ballot vote of no confidence against him. Following a 2-hour debate and a lengthy voting process, 198 MPs voted against the Democratic Alliance bid to remove Zuma, while about 177 voted for it. Well, Sumitra Naidu now joins us in Johannesburg with more on this. Sumitra, welcome to the show. Now, I feel like I've asked you this question before, Sumitra. Zuma, of course, has survived several no-confidence votes in the past. So give us the details behind today's decision to initiate another vote.
Well, Uche, the latest request came from opposition party, the EFF. Party leader Julius Malema wanted the vote before the State of the Nation address, which is next Wednesday. But the House Speaker, as you said, would only be holding it on the 22nd, which is also after the national budget speech by the finance minister. So it is going ahead, but there's nothing really different from all the previous times. The reasoning behind it remains the same. The only difference this time is that Zuma is not the president of the ANC any longer. And the jury is out on whether this motion is actually going to be successful. But I think if you make an analogy of it, it's like a battered wife syndrome. And I think the opposition parties feel like they need to continue to fight this.
Now, ANC officials, they have been discussing options for Zuma's departure. Now, given the stakes this time around what are the chances he loses this no confidence vote this time around?
So, Uche, the ANC holds the majority 249 seats in Parliament. There needs to be 201 votes in favour of the motion for it to go ahead, which is highly unlikely if you consider these numbers and the several attempts to remove the president. If you remember, the last time it was also a secret ballot, and even then it was not successful. There is definitely a move, though, within the ANC to have the president step down early, but the party is still very divided. Because if you look back, I mean, they could have actually made a decision on their own before going to Parliament, and this request, of course, comes through from an opposition party. They could have done something. President Zuma still holds a fair amount of support in the ANC. We saw that when the top 6 were elected. Having said that, since the last vote, the case against Zuma in terms of the charges he faces has been reopened, and the state capture inquiry is going ahead, which means that this will be hanging over the head of a sitting president, and it doesn't bode well for his party going into the general elections next year. There is more reason to have him removed sooner than later, more especially for the ANC.
Now, Zuma is expected to meet the party's top 6 officials this weekend. So what do we know about the reasons behind that meeting?
Well, the ANC is not disclosing the agenda for this weekend's meeting, so we don't have much detail there. But the party did say that an exit plan is being discussed, and there was quite a bit of talk around removing the president before the State of the Nation address. But that's just a few days away, and we've also heard ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa saying that the ANC wanted a more dignified exit for President Zuma. But there does seem to be more urgency this time around, as Zuma now wants to fight his charges in court. He wants to appeal the latest charges. He has written to the National Prosecuting Authority with his reasons. And for the party, this would just drag on and lower their support ahead of the polls. So there does seem to be more urgency this time around. However, what people are saying right now, what analysts are saying right now, is that it still doesn't hold enough support to have him removed in Parliament. The ANC still would keep him on until they find their own plan to remove him.
Well, we'll definitely be watching. Many thanks, Sumitra, for that update. Sumitra Naidu joining us there in Johannesburg.